guess the summer is officially gone. I'm sure all of us are very pleased about that. Thank you all for coming. I know many of you were camped out in SEC land last week, and I know this gets to be a little bit of a labor, but we appreciate you being here, and we particularly appreciate the relationship we have with so many of you throughout the year. We do appreciate the coverage. We appreciate you being here for this event. But more than that, we really enjoy a good relationship with many of you and some long friendships. So thank you all for being here. This is my 5th year down the path on this, and that really is sort of amazing coming out of my mouth. I guess the one good thing about the 5th year and this year in particular is I probably am not going to have to answer the question about what's going to happen if you get left out of the playoff for another year. We've actually got a track record now. We've been in half the time, and we've got a 13th data point. Last year we got in without the 13th data point, and in the future we'll have a 13th data point. So it's all good. You can ask that question if you want to. Now I'm not obligated to answer it. It is a pleasure to welcome Matt Campbell and Al Grove to the conference. They are two really outstanding football coaches, but more than that, two very outstanding people. And I am particularly grateful to Al for coming into a difficult situation. He is, and I told Ian McCaw this, he was an inspired choice. There's not a person in all of college football with better experience or better values, and he is every bit the right guy at this time. You'll also get a chance later to hear from Mac Rhodes, but we want to welcome Mac to the league. He comes in with a terrific reputation and a difficult job to do, but he's certainly going to be up to the task. This has been a very successful year for our conference. We ended up with 3 national championships. We had 6 second-place finishes, which frankly was a little bit frustrating, I think. And we ended up with 16 top 4 finishes in the NCAA this year. So it was a good year. We had 70% of our football teams in bowl games. We had 70% of our men's basketball teams in the NCAA tournament. 5 of 9 volleyball teams were in the NCAA tournament, including a finalist in the University of Texas. We had 4 of our 7 softball teams in the championship series, including the champion and University of Oklahoma. And amazingly, we had 3 of the last 5 teams in the College World Series in baseball. So all that's good. But in all frankness, we haven't won a national championship in football since '05, and we haven't won one in men's basketball since '08. So we have a lot to aspire to, and obviously that's the level at which we start every season. We are all about winning championships, and we think we've got teams that are capable of doing that. As an aside, and you may have seen it in some of our releases, but we'll have 87 current or former student athletes that will be participating in the Olympic Games in Rio. So we are very fortunate. We've had a wide array of top performers that have come through our league, and the Big 12 will be very well represented. Off the playing surfaces, we've also had a good year. This is the first year we've distributed more than $30 million per school in distributable revenue. That's going to continue to ramp up over the next 8 years as our contract has designated escalator clauses in it. This will also be the first year for TCU and West Virginia to fully participate with equal shares in the revenue distribution. And with the addition of the champ game starting in the fall of '17, that will continue to ramp up our revenues. I think we've had a particularly interesting year in the conference from an activity and from a policy development standpoint, we adopted a new football schedule requirement that it requires no more than one FCS opponent per year, at least one FBS autonomy opponent each year, or Notre Dame, and then two other FBS competitions as part of or up to two as part of the rest of the schedule. And so I think we have taken a moderate approach to scheduling. It probably isn't there permanently. I think it will likely evolve over time. But we think there are some very good regional matchups that are against FCS schools, so we didn't want to eliminate them altogether. On the other hand, it was clear that our non-conference schedules, some of them weren't as strong as they needed to be, and so our athletic directors took the step of putting this scheduling practice into place. I think it will be a very good thing, and I think it will strengthen what is already a very difficult regular season for our schools, because there is no way that is more difficult to contest your championship than to play a full round robin. We also adopted a serious misconduct policy, and the policy details due diligence that needs to be undertaken on each campus. It pertains to incoming freshmen as well as transfers, and I think it requires that each institution make decisions about young people that have things in their past that may be questionable. It requires each institution to make sure that due diligence goes beyond the staff of the sport that's involved, goes beyond the athletics department, and goes all the way to the highest levels of the university. And I think in doing that, we can count on universities to make the right choices. We also adopted a new intra-conference transfer rule for non-scholarship athletes. I know that this has been referred to as the Baker Mayfield rule, but I can tell you we dealt with it on a basis that took individuals out of the discussion. It would be easy to suggest that it was made because he's the offensive player of the year now. I think it's the right outcome. I think that he is a terrific player, but we looked at it in the context of who might be in the pipeline that this would apply to, and there probably will be others, not likely as high profile, but I just want to reiterate, the right decision was made. We put forth the right choice. I think we had a number of different options, and I think we got it right. It benefits Baker Mayfield, but it also will benefit anybody else that's currently on our campuses that might be similarly situated in that they came into one institution as a non-scholarship athlete and got an opportunity at another institution. So I think that process was probably a little longer than it needed to be, but we ended up getting it right. We also put in place a champ game, as I mentioned. That's been a long process, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later. And I think we've gone through an extensive period of research with our board, a lot of data analysis over the last 18 months on conference composition. Those discussions are ongoing, and as most of you know, we have a board meeting tomorrow, and conference composition and some of the decisions that we have before us will be on that agenda. But all I can say is that in my 4 years plus with the conference, I don't know that we've ever had a meeting of the board that was more frank and forthright and transparent than the last one we had, the one that was in early June. And I think that sentiment and that tenor will continue tomorrow. Our CEOs are working very well together, and I really expect that this will be a positive process for us. I think the other thing that obviously we have on our plate is that our board has asked for a full accounting from Baylor University relative to the sexual assaults and their university's response to that situation. I think it's fair to say that they're deeply concerned about the associational elements of this. There are certainly Our conference and our board doesn't have any legal standing on some of the things that have taken place, but or are alleged to have taken place. But let it suffice to say, as it pertains to all of our institutions, we are very committed as a group of 10 schools to eradicating sexual assault on our campuses. It almost goes without saying that when you combine alcohol and drugs and raging hormones and the experiences of 18 to 22-year-olds, it's probably unrealistic to think that these kinds of things are never going to happen. But we certainly want to make sure that from the center, we do everything we can to ensure that they are minimized, if not eradicated. And so additionally, from a purely athletic standpoint, we also have to be satisfied that there haven't been Big 12 rules broken and that there haven't been NCAA rules violated. So that is the essence of our process, and it's very early in the process right now. We will be continuing to work on it. Baylor has been very forthcoming, and I don't have any doubt that they'll continue to be forthcoming. We continue to support and believe in the national issues forums that we have been holding. I want to give particular credit to Bob Berta, who all of you know. Bob has taken this on and has worked with Ken Luce from LDWW, and they have done a spectacular job of teeing up these issues forums. We've done 4 of them now. There were 6 panels altogether in the 4. I think we'll probably do a couple more. But these have really been long-form engagements to kind of capture a phrase on it. We did them mostly because we wanted to be able to have discussion at a deeper level than is typically accomplished today. We're in an electronic age, and there are a lot of snippets out there, and I think these forums really have helped us do a deep dive. We've intentionally brought people together that disagreed with each other, and I think they've been very successful, and we're gonna continue to do that. I guess that most of you are also here to hear a little bit about football, and the Big 12 has been very actively involved. We're in a situation where we have a lot of people engaged at both the national level and at our conference level. We're in a situation where football is really under intense scrutiny. We all know it to be an extraordinary game. It's a lot of fun on Saturdays. It's a great rallying point for universities. It's a wonderful source of camaraderie and opportunity to go back to campus. But new participant numbers are declining abruptly. New kids going into Pop Warner and the like, the numbers are plummeting. There continue to be tremendous safety concerns about the game at all levels. The recruiting rules are badly in need of modernization, and that certainly includes the summer environment, which, as an aside, we went through 1 year of a relatively new summer environment, and it's an impossibility to manage the summer environment in its current form, and we really have a lot of work to do there. The time demands for football players are particularly acute for kids in this sport. It's a lot of time, and I think we have a lot of work to do to modernize that. We have have 12 pending class action lawsuits, and the plaintiffs in those lawsuits are primarily football and basketball players, men's basketball players, but some of them, the plaintiffs groups vary somewhat. And there's a growing trend towards individual concussion lawsuits, and I think you'll see an ongoing proliferation of that. So in my role as chair of the Football Oversight Committee under the NCAA, we're spending a lot of time on all of those issues. There's full engagement by all 10 of the FBS conferences and by the FCS conferences. From our league, in addition to my service Ed Stewart serves on the Football Rules Committee, which is a significant commitment. Of course, Kirby Hoket will chair the college football playoff selection group this year. And we've got a lot of our people that are very actively involved in the AFCA, the American Football Coaches Association. So there's a lot going on at the national level. I don't know that it's going to abate anytime soon. And so I think that we are going to have to continue to deal with all of the things I've mentioned, and probably a few that are unanticipated. But at the same time, the Big 12 really embraces college football, and we play it very well. We played it well last year, and we've played it well throughout our life. I think we'll continue to be there. We have tremendous coaches and athletes, and you'll meet all the coaches and a lot of the athletes during the course of the next couple of days. Walt Anderson is here, and I will tell you, I don't think there's a better coordinator of officials than Walt Anderson. And I think we've got the best staff of officials as well. We don't get them all right. Aspirationally, we always try to, but I feel very fortunate to have the crew that we have working on the field for us. They work very hard at it, and I think that our games will be exceedingly well officiated this year. We did lose 2 officials to the National Football League this year. A couple of things that we're going to do different than in previous years. We are putting in place a multi-capture video system that will allow us to get a view from every vantage point within the stadium. This will allow us to capture in-house video board angles. It will also allow us to capture of course, the stuff that our television partners are putting on the air, but we'll also get all the angles that they don't put on the air. So it should give us an opportunity for replay that is enhanced. And I think the other thing that we've done, and it goes back to the safety issue, is we were the first conference to adopt and then subsequently advocate nationally for the unchallengeable authority of sports medicine professionals to make decisions on return to play and return to learn, especially surrounding head injuries and concussions. And our contact rule for in-season regular full contact is about a third less than the national rule, and we're continuing to push for our rule to be the national rule, and I think that we'll see that in football oversight in the not too distant future, and I will be surprised if it's not adopted. I think the other thing that bears mentioning is that college football continues to be an extraordinary source of opportunity. 1 in 5 of our football players is a first-generation college student. They tend to graduate at a higher rate. They tend to graduate with a lot less debt, and they, it's the college scholarship program, not just in football but in all things, all sports, is the second largest scholarship program in the history of the United States, second only to the GI Bill of Rights. I mean, think about that. It's $2.7 billion a year, and college football is obviously the biggest scholarship program among all those sports. So we've got many challenges, but this is a cherished tradition in our country, and this promises to be another really outstanding year for our league. We've got great venues, we've got great ticket sales. There's no question, as I said earlier, that the full round robin is the most difficult way to contest your championship. Nobody is going to win a championship in this league by who they don't play, and you can look around at all of the others, and you can come up with examples of where that exact thing has happened. Somebody wins the championship by 1 or 2 that they avoid playing. This year, it's been mentioned, I think, but it bears mentioning again, 15 of our non-conference games are going to be against teams that were in bowls last year, and that includes 5 matchups against institutions that were in the New Year's Six. So we've got a very difficult preseason, and one that will likely have a lot to say about what the rest of the year looks like. Oklahoma is picked first in the league. They got all but 2 of the votes in the media poll. But we have a situation where 9 out of 10 of our schools return a starting quarterback. And starting quarterbacks mean good football teams and competitive football teams. So our history, despite Oklahoma getting almost all of the first place votes, our history is that favorites are challenged every week. They are going to be this year as well. I think we will have a bunch of good football teams led, as I said, by good quarterbacks. And I just you're gonna meet a lot of them in the coming couple of days. I can't wait for the season to get started. It's going to be a year that I think is really going to give us an opportunity to demonstrate that we can play at a high level. And frankly, we haven't done as good a job in the postseason as any of us would like. We were 2-5 2 years ago, and we were 3-4 last year. So we have a lot of work to do, and yet, as I mentioned, I think we have an awful lot of components of quality competition. So let me stop there, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, we're going to get a microphone to you. We've got a question right up here on